Let's turn to the saviors of rock and roll, at least the people that were pinned to be that back in 2018 when Trench dropped and they headlined pretty much every festival that summer, which is 21 Pilots, the duo, drummer and guitarist, eh, dropping their newest album, Scaly and Icy. Okay. Um,
Yeah, short for scaled back and isolated. Get it? Quarantine. Open your
yeah,
third eye, dog.
it's it closed because I found this album to be a little bit uninteresting at points. I'll say.
You'd say that again.
Why don't we set the scene with Trench though? Because I think that actually is important. Trench came out and sold a lot, very popular. 21 Pilots was everywhere. But was it a good album? We panned it pretty much from what I remember.
Yeah, I mean, there are some moments like My Blood, which I believe is one of the singles, but I think that their like songwriting has been largely exposed, and they certainly didn't try and remedy that this time around. And they seem to just be a victim of their own success. It's kind of funny to think, but Scaled and Icy is technically their sixth album. People kind of forget the two albums before Vessel, but
Yeah.
they do exist. And I mean, even before Trench came out, this duo, this band, quote unquote, is the only was the first act in U.S. history to have every song on two separate albums certified gold. The every track
Mhm.
on Vessel and Blurry Face, of course. And you look at just look at their three big hits: Stressed Out, Ride, and then Heathens. Of all songs, Heathens, the song off the Suicide Squad soundtrack. Those are all
Oh
well over a
boy,
billion streams on Spotify.
crazy.
Um, Stressed Out and is it Stressed Out and Ride, Stressed Out and Heathens. They're both top 100 most streamed songs ever on Spotify. Like
That's
they're
insane.
just they're like a superstar act, and yet I feel like they've been critically uninteresting for a long time now. And like Skeleton Icy, like I was listening to this, and I was so done with this album by the end. I was like, my god, like they're just so pop now, but it's like not cool. Like it's not cool at all. Like
Yeah.
there's some moments, but even like there, I actually have to give them credit for how much of chameleons they've become. Because I used to get like even described as like, oh, like it's kind of rap and stuff. If you actually like listen to the songs with hip hop cadences, like a lot of their popular songs, you like read these bars and like they are low key struggle bars. Like it is not like good rapping, but now they're barely even doing rapping, and I frankly I find a lot of the singing even worse. So they're a fascinating group because the success continues to follow them, and
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time seeing what people latch on to because they have differentiated now over the course of six albums, and it's like what is the most appealing stuff because they have a very reverent fan base, but
Mhm.
I I've had a hard time trying to grasp what it is that people are still really invested in, and there has been some backlash to some of these songs from what I understand within the fan base, so maybe they can see
Hmm.
that they're going a little elevator music at times, but
Yeah.
I'd still like to know exactly what the appeal has been, because I can't
It's
place it.
it's interesting too because when I was listening to this and I ran back a couple parts of it a couple of times. Um, this feels more in line with Vessel than it does with Trench or Blurry Face to me. I think, looking at those three songs you mentioned, Stressed Out, Ride, and Heathens, they're all kind of this like chill hop vibe to them, where it's kind of like modern day, like mainstream pop reggae kind of, it's just like not really interesting music, but it's laid back and you can just put it on and it's mindless. And what I think feels more like Vessels, which is actually an album that I think is quite enjoyable, with Shy Away, or sorry, not Shy Away, with uh, Scaled and Icy,
Mhm.
is they do these like switch ups, and it's very much just like stealing a lot of like 80s vibe to it. Like I'm pretty sure one of the songs, I think it's The Outside, reminds me of like a very specific 80s song I can't put my finger on. I think it's like Hold Me Now, Hold Me
Mm.
Now. I don't know if you know that
Yeah,
song, but
right, yeah.
it sounds literally just like it. I think they should get royalties for that track, but they really are just like stealing honed back 80s chill hop vibe, and that's the whole thing. And it's the lane that seems to be most successful for them. They do switch up and throw in some rapping here and there. They um, have some like pretty interesting, if not exciting, I think switches. I think one of the first tracks, um, maybe it was Saturday or something like that, maybe
Mhm.
or Choker. Maybe there's like a pretty like distinct like switch at some point, but nothing here is anything that I think is going to like grab new fans, and I don't think it's anything that is really gonna be exciting for old fans. It just feels kind of like let's get this one out, get back on the touring, have something new to play, and I don't know. It's just weird because who do you like lump them in with? Like to me, I think about Foster the People. I think about Imagine Dragons.
Imagine Dragons is
Um,
what I had come to,
yeah, and
which
like
is not a good comparison. You do not want to be compared to them.
it's not, but what a lane is Imagine Dragons for not being a great band
Mhm.
either. Also does crazy numbers. So
Yeah,
why switch this up if they're hauling in the dough? You
yeah, I
know?
guess. Yeah, to clarify, Stressed Out is number 40 and Heathen's number 78 in terms of most streamed songs in Spotify history as of today. So that's hard to argue with, I suppose. Yeah, the songs that stood out to me actually came in succession towards the beginning. They'd be The Outside and Saturday.
Mhm,
I think on one of those you get like more of the traditional like hip hop cadence that you expect from Tyler at times. Um,
mhm.
but yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I don't think this is going to wow anyone who is not up on the act at this point. And I don't like this is not the music that like brings you in. If anything, this is just padding out the set. Like
Yeah,
this is music that gets licensed, and that's all that happens to it. No one has a lot of passion for it, um, which is
nah,
again kind of a weird result from a quarantine album, an album that in general we are nicely removed from the previous effort trench. Like the next 21 Pilots album was going to be getting attention. It's just kind of weird that this is what they decided to make. In the interim, we've had Tyler last year kind of refuse to align with Black Lives Matter, and when he was asked to use his platform, he decided to post a picture of him wearing platform shoes, which no one's required to make statements or anything like that, but I think to like kind of openly scoff at the notion, especially when it's coming from your fans, just came off as awfully tone deaf to me, especially from a guy who is white and was using lots of hip hop influence to further his career. So I did not think that was a
mhm,
great look. And
nah.
he didn't follow it up with music that really is worth a damn anyway. So but they'll when they do a tour again, it'll be in arenas and it'll sell the fuck out because they still have a lot of fans. So it is what
Yep,
it is.
yeah. It's just crazy, and you think about. I was joking, but also kind of not that they really had been tapped as like the next leaders of rock and roll, and it's just like okay, well, rock is
Guess.
dead. Like,
Yeah. Give me
uh,
the 1975 every day of the week. If we're talking saviors.
unfortunately, it's probably true. That
Mm.
better band be leading. I think that's what again, kind of just circling back to Black Midi. That's what makes them so exciting. Is that at least like they're doing stuff that
Yeah.
is in line with rock and roll and feels like they're experimenting and trying and pushing the boundaries. Whereas this is just so
Right.
cookie cutter.